This evening, state to pursue compensation for public property damage due to recklessness and negligence. Ministry of Housing and Water launches core home support and improvement subsidy mobile app for housing applicants. APNU AFC, politicization and unprofessionalism in Guyana police force calls for transparency in oil sector. In the region, Canada-India tension. India rejects links to SIKH leader's death. And internationally, UK climate policy. PM softens key green commitments. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for September 21st, 2023. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal said the state is to pursue compensation for public property damage due to recklessness and negligence. In his statement issued today, the Attorney General noted that as part of a myriad of measures to address road users' wanton recklessness and negligence and the resultant carnage and destruction of public property, the state, including public corporations and statutory authorities, will aggressively seek to recover compensation for damages and destruction done to public property. A similar approach will be adopted with destroying and damaging public property by whatever cost. The statement added that billions of dollars are spent annually to repair and reconstruct public property damaged and destroyed by unlawful and or highly irresponsible conduct. This measure will be in addition to the institution of all relevant criminal charges disclosed resulting from investigations conducted by the Guyana Police Force. This statement comes on the heels of an incident where a speeding driver crashed into and damaged part of the newly constructed Eccles-Hague-Bosch roundabout last week. The driver involved in the accident has since been ordered to pay the state $2.1 million for the repair costs. The Attorney General Chambers sent a letter to the driver, Troy Humphrey, stating that the money be paid within 14 days of receiving the letter. Failure to do so would result in legal proceedings to recover the sum. The $2.1 million was spent by the government on emergency repairs, including fixing the water fountain and other roundabout sections damaged in the accident. In other news, Core Home Support and Home Improvement Subsidy, a mobile application, was launched by the Ministry of Housing and Water at the Arthur Chang Convention Center on Wednesday, September 20th. The app will provide core home applicants with real-time updates on their housing applications and subsidies. This initiative is part of the Adequate Housing and Urban Accessibility Program, funded by the Inter-American Development Bank, and aims to increase efficiency, accessibility, and transparency for applicants. The mobile app will update beneficiaries on the process and progress of houses and subsidy materials while monitoring their documents, application statuses, and payments. Meanwhile, the minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, noted that while the app will improve transparency and accountability, it is another strong move towards e-governance. The app has already benefited over 100 households with 198 applications. Additionally, 5 individuals from the Parfait Harmony, Region 3, and Cross and Leopold Street, Georgetown, received keys to their new homes from the Ministry of Housing and Water during the launch of the Core Home Support and Home Improvement Subsidy mobile application. The Core Home project is part of the Ministry of Housing and Water's Adequate Housing and Urban Accessibility Program, funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. The program aims to improve living conditions and infrastructure in urban and semi-urban areas. We now turn our attention to politics. In a statement issued by the Office of the Opposition following a press conference held today, the APNU AFC has criticized the Guyana Police Force for being politicized and unprofessional. It highlights a recent case where a Guyana Elections Commission registration clerk faced forgery charges related to national identification cards and questioned why similar cases reported by the opposition have not resulted in charges.
In April, we discovered and reported cases of fake signatures on candidate forms, where one and the same PPP agent signed for every nominator. In addition, several residents in Region 5 made official reports at the Fort Wellington police station of their names being placed on the PPP list of candidates as nominators without their permission. We also formally brought these matters to the attention of GCOM. The leader of the opposition later wrote Commissioner of Police Acting Clifton Hickin, stating that, and I quote, "These acts are criminal in nature and require the intervention of the Guyana police force to bring those who have committed these crimes to justice," unquote. In response, the commissioner gave the assurance that his police stations had the required competence to investigate the reported allegation of forgery and voter impersonation by PPP agents. To date, the Guyana Police Force has brought no such charges. It went conveniently silent and forgetful.
The statement accuses the police and GCOM of being biased in favor of the ruling party, the People's Progressive Party, and failing to uphold the law. The statement also mentions other instances where the government is accused of mishandling financial matters related to the oil sector audits, potentially leading to significant financial losses for the country. The opposition calls for transparency, audits, and proper oversight in the oil sector to ensure that Guyana receives its fair share of oil revenues. Stick around when we return. Police seized 100 pounds of marijuana in roadblock operation, and ministry stepped in to assist a child sent to work instead of school.
Oh gosh, what is this? My son can't read or spell. Stop! 0 out of 20. This is what I could do here.
Let's start improving your child grades today. Register for our primary or nursery department. Hidden Treasures, we're located at 204 East Half Charlotte Street between Camp and Alexander. Or contact us at 6490373.
I can call them now.
Hidden Treasures, discovering gems in young minds.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
All we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and spice cake. For the noodles, all we will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, five spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document plantain flour, and then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radical went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. She shaped like a guy in a map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, in collaboration with the Trafficking in Persons Department and Child Care and Protection Agency, is providing support to the family of a child who was sent to work instead of attending school. The child's situation came to light through a social media post circulated yesterday, where concerns were raised about his inability to attend school due to financial constraints, leading him to work at a Chinese supermarket at the age of 12. The ministry has located the child and family and will offer parenting guidance, counseling, and other necessary support to ensure the child's well-being. The ministry reminds the public that child labor is a crime and encourages persons to report all child matter cases by calling the 914 hotline. We tell you now that one man is in custody and another is on the run after police ranks found 100 pounds of marijuana following a stop-and-search operation on the East Bank Public Road during the early hours of yesterday morning. Reports that the ranks from the Timiri police station were conducting a roadblock exercise on the public road in the vicinity of Pearl when they saw motor car PAC 7539 approaching, heading north along Pearl Public Road. Ranks observed the vehicle made a sudden U-turn and sped away in the opposite direction. The ranks became suspicious and gave chase. While in the vicinity of the covered-in public road, the driver pulled over, exited the motor car, and made good his escape in the nearby bushes. However, a 30-year-old male from Perico was found in the car. The ranks unearthed 5 large, bulky, transparent bags with 2 black plastic bags, which contained a quantity of seeds, leaves, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The man was told of the offense committed, cautioned, arrested, and escorted to the Timiri police station, during which the suspected drugs were weighed in his presence and amounted to 100 pounds. He told officers that the marijuana belonged to the driver. At the time, he was only in the car because he was having issues with his child mother. The marijuana was lodged and the vehicle was impounded pending investigation. Don't go away after the break. 2 activists freed in Philippines after being abducted by the military. And UK climate policy, PM softens key green commitments.
Problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for doing surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Hello, my fellow TikToker followers. He is credit. And today, all we will be making Chinese noodles with peppies, chow mein, chicken fritters, and poise cake. For the noodles, all we will be using peppies, black pepper, cashew,
Chinese sauce, soy sauce, garlic sauce, paprika, Chinese seasoning, chow mein seasoning, white spice, and all-purpose seasoning.
Next, this chicken that we marinated, soak for all you don't know nothing with peppies, green seasoning, miracle seasoning,
Pepper sauce, chicken seasoning, paprika, garlic powder, dark seasoning, black pepper, onion powder, and ginger powder, and document planting flour. And then this butter we make with this quick piece powder, and we
boil in high. We serve with peppies, barbecue sauce. Radhika went to the supermarket and she proper buy up enough things. She feels she alone can cook, but she routine even wrong. He shaped like a Guyana map.
Peppies has a wide range of ingredients available at supermarkets nationwide. Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and SIKH exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Cross Street or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. India has issued a travel advisory for its citizens in Canada, warning them to exercise caution. It follows the Canadian government's announcement that it had credible evidence that India was behind the killing of a prominent Sikh activist in British Columbia in June. India calls the allegations absurd. Al Jazeera's Shahib Ratansi reports.
Hardeep Singh Najjar was shot dead near this Gurdwara in Surrey in June. The prominent Canadian activist had called for the establishment of a separate Sikh state called Khalistan, and India had offered a reward leading to his arrest. So when Najjar was killed, those here were in no doubt who was responsible.
For the last 40 years, Sikhs have been saying that the Indian state has been meddling in our affairs in Canada here. And from day one, when this occurred on June 18th, the whole community knew that the Indian state or its agents were involved in the murder of Hardeep Singh Najjar. And obviously there's a relief that now this has been acknowledged in the Parliament and House of Commons.
A police investigation is ongoing, so it's unlikely that any of what the Canadian Prime Minister called credible evidence of Indian involvement will be released to the public. But more and more questions are being asked as to what exactly Canada is alleging. Is it a rogue Indian operative of the Indian security services, or is it the security services as a whole, or the Indian government as a whole that is being alleged to have killed Najjar not too far away from here? And how strong is that evidence? It's been reported that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau made the sudden statement to Parliament because a Canadian newspaper was about to publish a story revealing the government's suspicions. An Indian opposition leader questioned the wisdom of the move.
Going public, making a statement in Parliament and so on was very unfortunate by the Prime Minister, and having gone that far, now I think they have really jeopardized the state of a very good relationship.
And it hasn't gone unnoticed that the UK and US have not rushed to accuse India, despite their intelligence sharing arrangements with Canada.
I hope that we can make sure that perpetrators are brought to justice, and that we can all allow the space for that information and that investigation to occur before anybody leaps to judgment.
Indian officials, meanwhile, have dismissed Trudeau's allegations as absurd and a ploy to win over the key Sikh vote at a time of government unpopularity. Shihab Ratansi, Al Jazeera, Surrey, British Columbia.
Internationally, 2 environmental activists allegedly abducted by the Philippines military more than 2 weeks ago have been freed. They were released late on Tuesday night, hours after appearing at a government press conference where they went off script and accused the military of abduction, charges the authorities have repeatedly denied. Al Jazeera's Barnaby Lowe reports.
Jed Tamano and Junila Castro are set free after missing for 2 weeks. The 2 environmental activists visibly shaken but remaining defiant.
Let's continue to fight to stop reclamation. Let's continue to defend the rights and livelihood of fishermen around Manila Bay.
Appearing at a news conference, they were expected to back the government's claim that they voluntarily surrendered and wanted to turn their backs on the armed communist movement. Instead, they said they were abducted by state forces. The government stands by its story.
We felt betrayed. That's why we will file the necessary case. What we're after here is just the truth. They went to us. They want to go back to the fold of the law. They provided a statement.
Junila's parents say they believe their daughter and support her advocacy.
Before the abduction, there were soldiers visiting us at home. They said they'd like to help our daughter. So I asked why she would need help. They told me it's to clear her name. But why? She's done nothing wrong.
But with no one backing down on their version of events, a compromise had to be made. The two activists are now in the custody of the Commission on Human Rights.
One thing all sides can agree on is that Jed and Junila are now on safe and neutral ground. The Commission on Human Rights is a government body, but it is known to be independent.
Activists gather in a show of support, highlighting a troubling trend. The Philippines has consistently ranked as the deadliest country in Asia for environmental defenders in the last 10 years, according to rights watchdog Global Witness.
The Global Witness report only documents the activists who were killed. What about those who have been threatened or slapped with various trump-up cases?
As well as land reclamation in Manila Bay, activists say local communities have also been resisting logging and mining activities. They fear Jed and Junila won't be the last to go missing. Barnaby Lowe, Al Jazeera, Manila.
And finally, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is easing some of the key measures aimed at cutting greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. His new climate policy has sparked anger among vehicle manufacturers, environmentalists, and even some of his Conservative Member of Parliament. Al Jazeera's Jonah Hall reports.
That we can adopt a more pragmatic, proportionate,
saying it was about pragmatism in the face of a rising cost of living, Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak tore up the political consensus on the UK's climate change commitments.
I want to make the right decisions for the long term of our children, of our country, and that won't be easy. And as you can see, there's lots of resistance to what I'm saying today. But what I'm trying to do is make sure that we're on a path to deliver net zero, because I firmly believe in it, but we're going to do that in a fair, in a proportionate way that brings people along with us.
The ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars will be extended from 2030 to 2035. A plan to phase out household gas boilers has been delayed. New household energy efficiency rules will be scrapped. Changes the government insisted would not affect the overall target of net zero carbon emissions by 2050, but which critics called a betrayal of Britain's resolve to be a leader in the global fight against climate change.
I think the key question to ask is backing away from climate action in 2023, is that leadership?
That was the view from the United Nations in New York, where leaders, minus Mr. Sunak, are assessing the world's progress in combating global warming. And while climate skeptics at home will have welcomed the Prime Minister's announcement, the view wasn't much better in sections of his own party. One former minister called it a moment of shame when the UK turned its back on future generations.
The question is, why water down the UK's climate commitments now? Well, there's an election due next year and the Conservatives are lagging in the polls. The Prime Minister may be gambling that climate is the sort of issue capable of dividing the electorate in the way that Brexit did in 2019, helping his party to an enormous win.
The problem is opinion polls suggest otherwise, consistently showing a majority of Britons support fast and strong action on climate. And with some dismayed Conservative MPs threatening to send letters of no confidence in the Prime Minister's leadership, there's a risk that dividing political opinion on climate change risks dividing his own Conservative party. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, London.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's SIKH Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 5:30 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.